Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the next installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast where I talk to anyone on the internet because I want to, and you probably want to hear our conversation. But let's talk about the sponsor, the title sponsor, the best sponsor. They don't suck because it's Go Fast, Don't Suck. I love Bill's products. Bill's a great dude. He supports the shooting sports. You can go get hats, t-shirts, hoodies, match banners, match jerseys if you feel the need. So go check them out. GoFastDon'tSuck.net. But don't forget to tell Manny sent you and move on with your day. Without further ado, we are talking to Miss Sloan Sanders. How are you doing today, Sloan?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. This will be a great conversation. I feel that everyone will enjoy.
I hope so.
For anyone who doesn't know, Sloan was this your first world shoot or your second world shoot?
My second.
So you came in ladies gold team, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I don't want to box that, but it is important. She is a world champion, guys. So we're going to talk to a world champion today. The first world champion on the show, so it's okay.
Oh.
But anyway, Sloan, for people who don't know you, who are you and how did you get into shooting?
So first off, I'm a wife and I'm a mom. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. So I have my irons and mini fires. But I love the outdoors. I have 4 chickens, a little girl. My dream is to live on a farm with cows and goats and chickens with a range and a large garden. So I'm really just a simple girl at heart that loves to shoot and enjoys the sport.
That's pretty awesome. Did you grow up like in that like farming want, or is this something you've developed as you've gone up?
Well, I live in the Mississippi Delta, so I'm surrounded by farming. My dad actually did used to be a farmer. But no, I did not grow up on a farm and grew up in town. But I did grow up around firearms, hunting, shooting from a young age. My family works in the ammunition industry, so shooting and ammunition was just part of our life. We grew up with a large respect, for firearms and how to use them for good, whether for hunting or for sport. I started shooting competitively when I was 13, though, with my local 4-H club, and I shot rifle and shotgun with them. But I didn't start shooting USPSA until I can't remember. I was either 15 or 16. I can't remember if I could drive yet or not. But with my dad's a good friend, and he was such a blessing, just really poured into me as a shooter. Took me all over the South shooting all through high school. So that was really just my first, beginning into USTSA, which kind of just grew from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty cool. And you said you started in 4-H with rifle. For people who don't know, what is that?
What is 4-H?
Well, 4-H rifle. Like, I understand what 4-H is, but I didn't know they had a shooting discipline.
They do, and it's actually grown a lot since I was in it. I was only in it for a couple of years. Once I started shooting USPSA, I kind of just switched over to that. But around here, it was just a really relaxed way that the dads and us kids, they took us out, taught us firearm safety. We shot 22 rifle. I think we shot in standing and in prone, and then we shot sporting clay, like shooting shotguns. So it was just a really great way to be around people my own age and enjoy firearms and learn that just a really relaxed way to be entered into the competitive sports, like competitive shooting, and with people my age. Because when I was started shooting USPSA, I think it wasn't until college that I really met another girl that like my age that shot. It was really just men and me, and then there was one guy that was around my age that was from a couple of towns over that I saw every once in a while. But it was really fun, and I think that's what really sparked my interest in competitive shooting, because it was people my own age and my peers I went to school with, and we got together every day after school and shot shotguns and learned how to use our sights and really use the gun for for fun and for enjoyment for sport.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I agree. It's nice to have that camaraderie. It seems like nowadays that kind of in schools has disappeared, and it's not as talked about as much. But it's a good team building exercise too. You have fun with. But when you started shooting USPSA, what division did you start in?
Production. So I was. What did he tell me? So Johnny Brister. I don't know if you've ever heard of Johnny Brister, but he is about my dad's age, and he really taught me all the fundamentals I know about shooting. but he is, I don't know how many grandmasters and many grandmasters. Anyway, he's a great shooter. But he told me I had to make master in production before I could go to anything else. And so I shot production for a lot of years, never made master. And then finally he was like, okay, I'll let you switch. But I think he really just wanted to drive home, like learning the fundamentals of shooting and using the sights and learning how to reload and all the basic fundamentals of shooting before he let me move to open.
He is a 7 times grandmaster, by the way.
Thank you. I was going to say 5. Then I was like, I don't know. Thank you for looking that up.
No problem. That was it's really fast on my end, so I'm very lucky. Yeah, 7-time grandmaster. Woof. And he's been around the sport a long time, since '95.
He has. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
People for a long time thought he was my dad. Because he literally carried me around to all the matches I went to from the time I was 15 until really I met my husband, which was after college. So people all, like, if they saw me, they saw him. You know, he was just a great mentor in the sport. It still is.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's good. And he's still probably shooting matches still. And it's
he is.
Wow. God, that is impressive. That is for sure. So eventually you were able to leave production and go to the best division ever at Open. And
that's right.
You weren't, I'm assuming you weren't hooked up with Phoenix Trinity at the time, but what was your first Open gun?
So I will preface this with, so Johnny brought me back a chocolate from Greece, from the World Shoot in Greece. Mm-hmm. And it was like a little chocolate thing that was like pressed, had the World Shoot symbol on it. And I was still in high school at the time, I believe. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go to the World Championships and compete with the best. And for some reason in my mind, with my limited knowledge of the sport, I thought that I had to shoot Open to be able to go do that. So to be able to like make a women's team, I thought like Open is my ticket. So that's really what drove my like wanting to switch to Open, was to be able to make that women's world shoot team. Mm-hmm. And so my dad actually surprised me. I didn't know it was coming, with a Bill's Custom Automatics. They're from our area. Tim Thompson built it, an Open gun. He builds Jesse Duff's Open guns or Jesse Harrison's Open guns and stuff. And so that's how I met her. And so that's how I got into Open.
That's kind of a small world thing. So, you know, you both have your guns built by the same person, which is pretty cool, you know, because you're both top ladies in the sport. I mean, mm-hmm. One of these days her gun's just going to choke up and then you're going to take the lead, right? It's just how this is going to work, right?
No. She's a great friend.
Yeah, she's a great ambassador for our sport and shooting in general. Yeah. She does a really good job. I'm glad to see what she's been able to do with Taurus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Her and Casey both. I was lucky enough to meet them both at Area 5 last year. And everyone thinks Casey is funny. He's really funny in person, though.
He really is.
Yes, that is awesome. So you decided you're shooting Open. And how long did it take before you were able to form a relationship with Phoenix Trinity?
My husband actually shot for Phoenix Trinity first, and they just kind of took us in as family. I had my little girl, and they would babysit her at matches while me and Steven shot. They bought her a little cart, and they would like keep her in the RV and the cart while we shot. And they just really just took care of us as a couple and as a family. And so when they came out with their honcho, I believe in 2018, I switched to, they took me on and I started shooting their honcho for them.
Okay. That's pretty impressive. And I don't know if it's more popular in the South, but I don't see a lot of honchos up here. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I don't know what the ticket is there. Maybe they just need me to come up there and show them one.
Maybe, exactly. That's possibly how it is. So, you know, from what I get, you primarily shoot Open, but you still shoot other divisions, I'm assuming.
I do. Some. I will say that I pretty much primarily like compete in Open. But I'm really excited that this year I really want to start actually competing in some other divisions. I think I'm so goal oriented and driven for like those goals that I've set, that really the last several years I've just focused so much on Open. With my time that I do have, you know, like I said, I do work and have a little girl and a wife. I'm a wife, so the time that I do have, I have just really focused into open the last several years. But
Mm-hmm. That was pretty awesome. And now, speaking of your daughter, have you started introducing her into firearms, or not quite yet?
so we have, so she has been really introduced to firearms since the day she was born. Um, this just a little insight into how our World Shoot classification, qualifying goes. We have to shoot IPSC nationals and USPSA nationals, and they take the top three of those for the 2 years of qualifying. And I was 8 months pregnant when we had IPSC nationals, and so I had to shoot USPSA nationals in order to even qualify for World Shoot for Thailand. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I had her, and then 4 weeks later, I went on the road to nationals, and so we took her all the way to Florida. She spent like 15 days, I think, in Florida, her fifth and sixth week of life. So she really grew up on the range, and so yeah, she knows all about firearms. She's 4 now, so we have already started really hammering firearm safety. And what that looks like in our house is pretty strict.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have play guns. We don't pretend, with guns or whatnot. We teach her the fundamentals of safety, that what guns are to be used for. So yeah, we have already started driving home that. She has not actually shot a gun yet, but she has like a little blue what do you call those? Like training gun,
Mm-hmm.
like little training pistol that we practice just like firearm safety with her with.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's probably one of the best ways to get, to build that respect for firearms in someone that young, be able to teach
Mhm.
them right from the beginning, and you don't have to correct any bad habits.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of go with the play guns and stuff. Like that's why we feel like at this age, like it's kind of confusing to a child to like tell them, oh, you can play with this gun, you can point this gun at something or somebody, but with this gun you can't. So we really set pretty firm boundaries with that. That no matter what she picks up, that she knows the safety behind it, and so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is awesome. So, you're a world champion. What are your current goals though for shooting?
Oh, goals. So I am like a type A perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had really big goals for the sport. Like I said, my first drive for coming to open or going to open was so I could make a world shoot team. Um, so in the last year, I will say my goals have kind of shifted a little bit. My whole career, if you want to call it that, was to be the best, qualify for a world shoot, stand on the podium for the USA. Although I will say that I feel like the Lord has kind of changed my focus over the last year, mentally shifted it a little bit from being so like goal oriented to enjoying the sport a little bit more. I love the sport. I love shooting. But in the past, I've kind of put so much pressure on myself that it's kind of started negatively affecting my performance, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last season, I've kind of really started diving into like why I shoot and like changing that focus a little bit. And at the end of the day, if it's not fun, why do we do it? So
Mm-hmm.
I love shooting, and I want that love for the sport to translate more into my performance. So my goals right now, going into this next year, are really to learn how to really enjoy the sport again, um, and conquer that mental game. Learn how to shoot with enjoyment. But beyond that, I want to win a national championship. I want to podium individually at the next World Shoot. And then classification is really not a big deal to me. I really believe that like how you perform is a better gauge of your classification. But I do think it'd be cool to be a GM.
Well, those are all some pretty big goals right there. That's
I
for sure.
told you I like to dream big, right?
I mean, but if we're not dreaming for something big, why dream at all, right? It's why we kind of do this thing too. It's like, you want to be realistic with yourself, but also put those goals out there to push you to keep having that effort and
Yeah.
the drive to do it. So I agree with those. Those are honestly some great goals, and it'd be nice to see all of them happen. Well, especially what you got 2025, right?
Yeah. Or South
Is
Africa.
South
Yep.
Africa.
Hmm.
That will be It's going to be here before we know it because it took so
Yeah, it
long
really
for
is.
this world shoot to happen. Now, Now, with that, I knew a lot of competitors who were supposed to be at the World Shoot had to keep backing out because of all the restrictions due to COVID or keep pushing the dates back. Did
Yeah,
that
that was
was that
hard.
ever was that ever a thought in your mind of having to withdraw from the World Shoot?
It was, ultimately it was hard because yeah, it just kept getting pushed back and it was just so much of an unknown. With my family and with being young and not knowing what family was going to look like in the next few years, that was hard with planning and trying to figure out if it was worth putting our life on hold even more, that kind of thing. And then I knew I had some pretty firm boundaries of that I wasn't going to go if I had to test negatively to get back into the country. If I had to test negatively COVID to get out of Thailand, I had some pretty firm boundaries with that. I didn't want to risk my family and my livelihood was more important, than that. I didn't want to risk getting stuck over in Thailand.
Yeah.
But thankfully all those restrictions lifted and we were able to go and just enjoy a pretty normal match. But there were definitely things to think about and they definitely kept some people from being able to go. But thankfully my schedule was flexible enough to allow for those continual changes.
Hmm. Now, did you go over by yourself, or did your husband go with you, or?
He did not. He stayed back with my little girl. It was just going to be too long of a flight and time away to bring her with us, and we didn't want to leave her here with us both being gone. So he stayed back with her. But Megan Smiley, she was a
Mhm.
girl, another girl on the team. We're really great friends, and we traveled the whole way together, so we weren't alone.
Oh,
We
there
had
you
each
go.
other.
Well,
Yeah,
that makes it a little bit safer for yourself too, being especially in a foreign country.
yes,
I would hate to have to travel alone as anybody, even myself, would be
yeah.
like, you don't know where you're going, you can't read the street signs.
Exactly. That was definitely a concern of mine and for my husband. So yeah, it worked out well.
That's good. Now, I guess since we're talking about the World Shoot, how did it feel to be at the World Shoot? I mean, I could only imagine that it's extravagant and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It really is. It was a wonderful experience. So like France, I feel like to me this one in
Mhm.
comparison to France was just a whole even different experience. This one I felt like I was truly able to my goal was to just like soak it all in and enjoy
Mhm.
it, right? So like we never promised another day and like as a mom and getting older, I never know like if this was going to be my last one or not. So I really wanted to just truly soak it in and enjoy and be like thankful that I was there. And it really was just a wonderful experience. Like the match was put on very well. They did everything they could to make it just a great experience. It's so neat to going from the US to another country. They hold shooting just, I mean, they support shooting so well. Just they make you feel like you are so awesome. Like it's just it's a really neat experience. It really is.
Well, yeah, probably because they can't owning firearms outside of the United States is a lot more tricky than we actually
Yeah.
think about it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
because you probably had to fill out, your permits or your customs paperwork to get you even out of the country and then back in.
Yeah, sure. There was a lot more paperwork involved for Thailand versus like when I went to France. Um and so it makes you really thankful for what we have here in the US. I think it makes me see how much I do take for granted. Um and being thankful for the fact that we can reload, that we can make our own ammunition, that we aren't limited by what the government tells us how much we can make. It's just so much that we just don't even realize, or I don't even realize until I go to another feel like that.
Now, were you able to take enough match ammo with you for the match, or did you have to shoot the supplied match ammo?
So it was really tricky. So I actually bought ahead of time enough ammunition for the match just in case, but I was able to take over my very last shot fired was my last bullet that I had with me. So it was, I cut it pretty close.
Yeah,
But
I
yes,
mean,
I was, I was able to finish the match with my ammo, thankfully. Yeah.
yeah, because I would just hate, even running an open gun on untested ammo. You're like, all right, hopefully they did their job when they loaded this, because being in
Yes.
the ammo manufacturing business, as your family is just like, how important that is, especially for an
Yeah.
open gun. Like,
Mhm.
bad cases could ruin your day.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think it was the people that did have to shoot it. I think it was done pretty well. But thankfully, I did practice with it a little bit, but I didn't have to actually run it in the match. So,
Oh, good. At least that is definitely good. Your match performance was not affected by adverse
yes,
ammo.
thank you. Sometimes I wish I could have blamed it on that, but yes.
Oh. I mean, wouldn't we all like, oh, I see, I didn't load this. It's not my fault, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I don't know where that bullet went. I didn't even load it.
yeah, well, you never know. It's the bullet fairy just takes the bullet sometimes, and it's like, we'll throw it over here.
That's right.
But I will say, Precision Delta ammo is pretty awesome. The bullets, I forgot my first 1,000 rounds of bullets, or projectiles, I should say, because they're not really bullets, or they're
Yeah.
not cartridges. But I will say the ammo is very impressive.
Thank you.
Especially coming from like a jacketed polymer coated lead bullet. It's really nice to actually see
Oh,
really
yeah.
nice ammo.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Yeah.
I don't have to reload with a glove anymore because my fingers don't have to get dirty.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I mean when you shoot carry optics, it doesn't really matter. Like, but when you're
Yeah.
shooting an open gun, you got to use jacketed hollow points, or
Yeah. Got to use the good stuff.
right,
I'm glad.
and got to use Precision Delta.
I'm glad you like them.
Yes, they're very good, and they make loading easier. That's for sure. But and maybe you know this. Why did they go away? They have the V1s, but then they have
Yeah.
the V2s.
Yeah. This would be a more of a question for my husband who created the V2. But we still carry the V1s. I actually still shoot the V1s. There's really not any. They perform the same. They perform. We created the V2 for more of just a competition load. It doesn't expand quite like the V1 does for like if you were going to load it for a defensive load. It doesn't have like the grooves in it like that. So it was just a little bit of change. It's a little bit more rounded too. So you can cut out any kind of, not the V1 that the V1s have any feeding issues, but if you are concerned about that, it is little bit more rounded on the edge at the top. So yeah.
Yeah, they're very consistent. The sizing is very good, and I enjoy them. I enjoy loading them now because that's all I have. But I got to order some more because you never know. Bullets go by fast. That's all I'm gonna
That's
say.
right. They do.
They go by, and it's not fun when you got to order more because you're like, oh no, the mailman's gonna hate me.
We get that a lot.
Yeah, just like great. Now I get to. I did one time. I have gotten notices in my mailbox saying you need to come to the post office and pick this up. I'm like, no, that's no fun.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, but the nice thing is, Precision Delta offers free shipping, so I can't complain about that.
I'm glad you're pleased.
Yeah, but I guess now that we've talked about ammunition, because that was the whole rabbit hole, but it was a great one. At the World Shoot, you had the opening ceremonies, and then what schedule were you on? Like shooting wise, because it seemed like, because most people don't know, there's a break in World Shoot. You get like what, 1 or 2 days off?
1 day. 1 day off. So, some people started with a break. So, you never really know when your break's going to be. We were really last time and this time, I believe, too. We shot 3 days, had a break, and then shot 2 days. And then the next day after the last day of competition is shoot off. So it was really great. We shot 3 days, had a break, and then basically shot 3 days. So it was a really good setup.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming, well, you shot with the ladies open team. What other countries were on your squad?
So we were like it was all the other ladies open teams. No, there were a few that were on another squad, but let's see. We shot with Czech, Italy, oh man, Manny, not Manny, Alex. Do you go by Alex or Manny?
Both actually, because my
Okay.
people don't know my last name is Mansfield, and throughout
Yeah,
throughout
that's why I was confused.
throughout middle school and high school, all of my teachers who I had my father and my uncles. So eventually it would be name, and then they'd get to me. So at some point somebody gave me the nickname Manny, and it stuck.
Okay.
At some point, some people thought that this podcast was written by Manny Bragg, though, too, because that's even more funny.
Now that is a little confusing. Man, it hasn't been long, but it's been long enough that I cannot remember who else we shot with. But the Czech girls are great. Oh, Filipino shooters. Did we shoot the Philippines? Man, I don't remember who else. Manny, you're gonna make me laugh.
Well, but you shot with all ladies, which was
Yes,
probably
it was great.
important because then you're comparing directly against each other. You're not competing. There was no men in the squad, so you didn't have to worry about them getting in
Correct.
your
And
headspace.
it's just really awesome, like as a girl, to be surrounded by other girls that like what you do. So,
Mhm.
there's not very many people. I'm not used to being around a lot of girls that that enjoy the same thing I do, So it's really awesome to be surrounded by so many girls that have the same interests as you. And they are all just like enjoying the day shooting together. Like you just don't get that anywhere else.
Right, and it was probably abundant. So you go, girl. Nobody was putting anybody down.
Yeah.
It was uplifting, right?
Yes, everybody's just super encouraging. And yeah, it's great. Oh,
Mhm.
Indonesia. That's not the Philippines. Indonesia, Czech Republic, Italy. Yes. So there you go.
Did you trade any of your jerseys away to another person, or did you keep all of them?
I did trade or gave two away,
Mhm.
and kept one. Yes.
There you go. Because I think that's from what I got. That's a tradition. You're able to trade away jerseys at IPSC matches, so it was kind of cool.
Yes. And then we also had our girls team actually had pins made too.
Hmm.
We had pins made with all our names on them, and then like one of them is a girl's head with like a ponytail, shooting an open gun, and it had all
Hmm.
our names on them. And then one of them was like a world shoot symbol, and it had all our names on them and stuff. So we traded a lot of those too.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, so you shot 3 days, took a break, shot 2 days, and then shoot offs. Now, did you feel more pressure or less pressure at the shoot offs? Um,
Uh, Honestly, I really like was just so glad to be done with the match. Like the pressure from like that was like so relieving that I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. We're gonna go to shoot offs. And then all of a sudden, like we got there and it was like about time and it like hit me like a brick wall. So it was really awesome. Shoot offs or I don't get to do them very much. I've actually only shot two shoot offs in my whole life, like the one at France and then the one here.
mhm.
So it's like a huge, massive adrenaline dump.
Mhm.
So the pressure was definitely on, but it's just totally different. At least thankfully, the pressure is just for that one thing, and it's not like a match. It's different than a match pressure to me.
Well, because it's the same, it's either on this side or this side, and you're shooting the same targets. It seems like it's not like you've
Yeah,
got to really have a game plan.
yeah, no, and it's just for whoever's going to win the shoot off. It's not like it's not going to affect like the whole match or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. So the major match pressure is off. It's just this,
Yeah,
you got this thing in front of you at this time.
yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping in the middle of this awesome conversation with Sloan Sanders. We had an awesome conversation so far, and it's going to continue afterwards. But got to talk about the sponsors here. We've got title sponsor Go Fast Don't Suck. They make awesome dry fire targets, match jerseys, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, memes on the internet that you all know you want to consume. Don't forget Hunter's HD Gold, guys. Hunter's HD Gold makes fantastic eyewear. Brian's at every major match he can possibly be at. God, I don't know if he can fit any more into his schedule because it's busting at the seams. Go check him out, huntershdgold.com. Tell him Manny sent you. Also, remember to dominatedefense.com, guys. Go get yourself a Mach 1 speed belt combo using the code MannyTalks10 for 10% off that order. Because you all want Mach 1 speed belt combo. Run over to my friend Nathan Diley's company, DivTech, at divtechshop.com. Use code Manny Talks Shooting for 10% off your entire order. 3D printed magnet kits, awesome, many colors. I use them on my belts. They're fantastic. I can't say any good things about them enough. Also, don't forget, run over to rangepanda.com. They've got 3D printed accessories for your press. They've got CNC offerings for your press. God, I'm gonna run out of words to say today, but it's okay. Optics covers, custom cut foam for your cases, lasered tumblers, pistol stands that are made. They've got everything, guys. Go check them out. They work hard and they support the sport and what we do. So go check them out at rangepanda.com. Also, run over to targetsusa.com. The manufacturers the finest steel targetry on the planet. I say it because I believe it. Not the fact that Jason Woods is a really good dude. He is, but he also supports PCSL in most USPSA matches. So go check them out there, guys. Awesome, fantastic products. But don't forget to run over to Chile Custom Gunworks, the title sponsor of the Michigan Sectional and Area 5 again this year. Matt puts a lot of support into the sport, and we greatly appreciate that for darn sure. So check them out. You want an E2 L2 grip, you have an open or limited gun being built, you really need to get parts on your gun. Tell your guys on your builders that you want Chile Custom Gunworks parts. They're the best. Don't forget Tim Heron Shooting. He got me on the shooting map, and he's filling up classes left and right. So get in while you can. TimHeronShooting.com. Also, my friend John over at Outdoor Dynamics. They pull the handle so you don't have to. They've got carry optics ammo. They've got 9mm in 115, 125, and 147. Got missiles, Andersons, and Librarians. We've got 9 major. You want to try out 9 major. It might not be saying it's in stock. You order it. It's going to be shipped pretty damn quick. So go check them out there, guys. I think that's everybody we've talked about. That's all of them. So let's get back to this conversation, Miss Sloan Sanders. Now, I know this is a minute ago, but do you have a most memorable stage from the World Shoot, or are they all just a blur at this point?
I do have one really memorable one. I think it was just a mental win for me. So IPSC is very strict on like how much time you get before you shoot the stage, and then you can't get back in the box again until it's your time to shoot. So we came up to this one particular stage, and I believe it was our last day. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen videos of it, but you're laying down on your stomach on this table, and the whole stage had to be shot in prone on this table, but there was different ports you had to look through. So you couldn't like see everything from one spot. You actually had to move 5 times, I believe. You have to shift different ways. And I got one walkthrough of the stage, and it had 1 or 2 swingers on it as well. So I literally had one time to get up there and look. And then it's just so different too, because you're like on this wooden table and your mag pouches are all different ways, and you have your gun on at that point. And so like you can't even really roll to see through the port. Anyway, I got one look at it, and the man the RO calls time. And so I literally could not look at it again until it was my time to shoot it. He told me that I could sit down to look at it. And then I realized I couldn't see with my hat when it actually was my turn. I couldn't see. So then I had to like take off my muffs and like turn my hat around backwards. Just different things that I didn't even think about until I got up there. So I really didn't even get to really look at it much during my make ready time either. So he was really ticky about positioning and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, I shot the stage really well. And I came away as just like a big win for me, in that like I mentally was really nervous. I felt like I wasn't prepared, but I like really focused on the process and what I needed to do, and like it worked out. Like I did it. And so it really was just like a mental win for me. Ended up being a good stage. You had to pull yourself like from the back of the table up to the front of the table at the start. So it like ripped off my metal mag pouches. It like my metal mag pouches literally took off the top layer of the wood and ripped one of them completely off my belt. So it was an interesting stage. It'll probably stick in my memory for a while.
Now, was the mag pouch completely broken, or did it just pop off the socket?
It came out of the socket, so I was able to actually put it back in the socket. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have red paint on the front of those mag pouches for a while.
Yeah, but that is a nice mental win, especially when it's very adverse conditions and you're like, you can't see it very well. And a lot of shooters in the States don't realize, you get your only 4 minutes at the time of the stage, essentially. Because most part they had it all taped off or something. You couldn't get very close.
Yeah, you aren't allowed on the like stage at all. So like you can't even go past like the awnings basically until it's your squad is on there, and until it's your walkthrough. And then you aren't allowed back on it until it's your turn to shoot. So yeah, they're pretty strict about that.
Yeah, definitely different than shooting in the US, that's for sure. But so and I'm assuming you and Megan and probably Jesse and Casey all had amazing food out in Thailand.
Yes, and then Janet Sui and her boyfriend Jeremy, we all stayed together, and it was amazing food. It was really good. It was just an amazing experience overall. Like we got to pet tigers and ride elephants and visit like this big hand carved museum. It was really cool.
Did Jesse find a way to steal a tiger and take it back home?
No, but she did go in with a very large tiger, and I went in with a baby tiger
Yeah.
because that large tiger was really big.
Yeah, that's past your comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I went with a 3 month old. It was just like a cuddly kitty.
There you go. That's always the benefit, right?
Yeah,
Just realize it could kill you when it gets older. But
that's
yeah,
right.
but eventually you had to come home from the World Shoot. And I bet you were probably a little bummed, but really excited to get back home to your family.
Yeah, yeah. It's always a mix of emotions coming home from any match, but especially a big one like that for sure.
Now, what was the I couldn't remember. What was the time difference from Thailand to home?
I want to say it was 13 hours.
Oh, so it was very rough to even have like a phone call with your daughter and your husband, right? It was very,
Yeah, and I really couldn't because she's really at the age now where she's 4, like I said. So and she would be okay as long as she didn't like see me or like talk to me. And then she would get like really upset and like start like missing me and like crying and stuff. So I really couldn't really talk to her much at all. I
oh,
only talked to her yeah.
that probably didn't help you. It's probably it made it easier for her, but it was probably very tough on you because you know
Yeah.
she's been with
It was
you.
tough. I was excited to get pictures. I made people send me pictures all the time over.
Well, there you go. That's better than nothing. That
That's
is
right.
that is good. So you came home, probably had a lot of jet lag.
Yeah. Thankfully when we went, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but when we went over there, I don't know if it was just getting to actually like sleep as much as I wanted to and like at home with a little girl, but I really did fine going from the US over there. But coming home, yeah, it took me about a week to get back to I went straight back to work the next day and it took me about a week to get back into
Mhm.
like normal space.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be an interesting yet challenging endeavors. I mean, I've flown before. It's oh yeah, 9 hour difference, and you get back and you're sleepy for a couple days, but it's like I couldn't imagine that. That was definitely rough on that one. And I'm assuming you had to switch planes. You had to get off at a certain country and then get back on.
Yeah, we went from on the way there, we went to I flew from Memphis, Tennessee to Detroit and then Detroit to Seoul, South Korea, and then Seoul to Bangkok. And then on the way home, we did the same thing from Bangkok to Seoul, but then I flew from Seoul to Dallas and then Dallas to Memphis.
Okay, so that's not terrible. And then you still had to drive a little bit.
Yeah, I'm about a little over 2 hours from an airport. So yeah,
That's not terrible then. But especially at the end of a long trip, you're just like, I want to be home. I want to be in my bed and be done with this.
that's right. That's right.
But so you got back to regular life, and whatnot, and I bet you're glad to be home. I know I would be,
Yes.
but so you've got your day job, you've got your daughter. What does your training schedule look like? Are you able to train as much as you'd like, or life is very important and it just kind of gets in the way?
A little bit of both. Yeah, so life is busy. Before I had my little girl, I shot almost every day. Trained almost every afternoon straight after work. I would go to the gym before work, go to work, and then go straight to the range almost every day. And then on the weekends, we were gone more than we were home. My husband traveled with me, and we shot everywhere. When we had her, we did that, kept doing that for about the first year, and then she became mobile,
Mm-hmm.
and it got harder to take her to matches and that kind of thing. So, and then COVID hit, of course, which kind of changed everything. But now I definitely don't get to shoot as much as I would like. But it has kind of reframed my mindset of really taking advantage of the time I do have. I feel like I probably used to waste a lot of time and probably wasted a lot of ammo, honestly. Where now, when I do get to live fire, I try to live fire at least 1 to 2 times a week, and then either a practice or a match on the weekends. And then I dry fire too during the week. But now when I go, I am like like I know what I'm doing before I even get there. I get it done. I really try to take advantage of every moment I have out there on the range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, do you still try to do it after work, or do you have to carve out special time for it then?
So thankfully I do only work part-time. So I have a little bit of time now that my little girl's in school this year for the first time. It has given me a little bit of flexibility there. So I try to go like 1 or 2 days a week before I pick her up from school. Otherwise, yeah, it's just I'm having to like hire a babysitter after she gets out of school or something to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that is nice to be able to have a little bit, be in the part-time, being flexible, so you can still do what you need to do as a parent and as a shooter. So that, and it's nice to
Yeah.
see, usually a lot of people, when they get near the top of the sport, they're like, oh, I don't dry fire. But it's nice to hear somebody of your caliber who still says, yeah, I dry fire, because,
I really feel like it's essential, and it gives me a tool to be able to work on things that when I can't get to the range. I guess it gives me something to feel like I am doing something to make me better, even when I can't get to the range. And I think it does make me better.
right. And it does. And honestly, it cuts, I feel that it can cut a big learning curve out of it without having to actually have the explosion of the gun going off in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite dry fire tool is, and we've talked about this before, is the dry fire mags from Double Alpha. Um,
Yes, I have one right here.
I mean, they're fantastic. I have
They are.
I like the 140s, I think, better than the 170. I've had issues with my 170, but nothing
I
like
don't
that.
actually have a 170. That would be cool. But yeah, I use the 140s like they're going out of style.
Oh, and well, when you think about it, you don't want to drop your, $100, $150 magazine on the floor all the time. I
That's
mean,
right.
I wouldn't want to, or bash the feed lips up or whatnot. They're too valuable. They're too. I mean,
Yeah.
but I like the
And
140s.
I feel like the weighted mag, whether it's you're weighting it with dummy rounds or whatnot, is just a little bit more realistic than dry firing with the empty mag. So for me, even just being a girl and not being as strong as I would even like to be, even though I work on that, practicing strong hand and weak hand with a weighted mag is a big difference than doing it without one. So that really helps me just help build that strength and that muscle memory too.
hmm Oh yeah, and as long as you just don't drop mags on your feet, that's like the worst thing that could ever. That is like the worst.
Yeah, that does hurt. That does hurt.
It does hurt. But I lost my train of thought, but it's okay because I grouped. But dry fire is important. Do you do a lot of movement in your dry fire, or is it a lot of static work?
I try to do a little movement. Now I don't have the bougie dry fire set up like you do. You have got it set up, man. I pretty much just have like an extra bedroom. I've kind of set up as like an office workout room slash dry fire room. So
hmm
I kind of move as I can. I use the door frame as like a barrier. I'll kind of do some side to side movement, some turning, that kind of thing. But I am kind of limited on space with that.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I am very fortunate for living where I live and have a basement where I decide what happens in the basement. So it's got
Yeah,
the
that's awesome.
reloading room, it's got the dry fire space. There's never enough room though. I don't
Uh,
care. I mean, I have a few friends who have really nice basements or dry fire setups that I'm jealous of. But I actually had talked to a buddy today who's working on walling off a part of his barn to be able to actually like have almost like a bay's worth of dry fire. And I'm like,
nice.
I am jealous, sir. But it's gonna take him a minute, but it'd be great. But I see you've got your bike in the room. For anyone
Yeah,
who
this
watches, is that stationary? Is it locked into like a base?
it is. This is my you can see my dry fire targets on the wall here.
hmm
Um, but yes, it is on a trainer. So
hmm
this is behind me. You can't see it, but it's like my workout bench with my weights and my bike and my dry fire targets. So
But you like to run, right?
that is my main gig. Yeah, I mean my main like thing. Yeah, I run most mornings, but we kind of live out in the country, not too far out, but somewhere I don't really want to run by myself. So if I can't run with girlfriends, then I just hop on my bike. Yeah,
hmm So cardio is pretty big with you. Do you feel
it
that?
is.
Do you feel that if that's well, I mean, obviously you're a doctor of physical therapy. Is that probably better on you to do the biking or the running? Like,
I feel like it's just different.
hmm
And I do think that changing things up helps too because you challenges different muscles. That if you just do the same thing over and over again, you're just hitting one muscle group. So for me, it gives me a little bit of variety. You don't get the impact that you do in running. Um,
hmm
but I do feel like running uses a little bit more muscles than my biking. I feel like biking just pretty much gets my legs. Where after I go for a hard run, I feel it from my head to my toe.
hmm
So yeah, but it is good. And then having my little girl, it gives me something I can do in the house. If I can't get out or something.
hmm Yeah, I have been hitting the gym 3 days a week in the morning at 4:30 in the bloody morning, which I enjoy
Now,
because
hey,
one,
I'm right there with you.
nobody is there, so it's great. You go, you just get it done. I start on the elliptical. I mean, I've never liked treadmills purely for the fact of like the impact on my feet, but
Yeah.
I don't mind the elliptical. But yeah, I definitely enjoy getting my workout in the morning, and then yeah, like you said, split up the different groups. Like Mondays will be arms and chest, Wednesdays is legs, and then Fridays like cardio core day. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely variety is important. I feel just like in anything in life, you
Yeah.
can't variety is important.
Sure.
Although everyone would love to eat tacos every day of the week.
Might not get all your nutrients though if you only eat tacos every day.
Right, exactly. But yeah. So speaking of like nutrition, how do you perform at the best? Do you snack during the day at the match or when you're training, or is it one of those things that you just kind of keep your normal routine on food?
So I actually, fun fact about me, I actually have celiac disease, so I can't eat any like wheat, barley, rye. And then it just kind of makes I just kind of have a weird stomach. So I stay to my pretty simple things. Actually, if I drive to matches, I usually bring all my food with me. Um, and then I always kind of like find a smoothie place that I can stop at on the way there, or like use like a protein shake to start off in the mornings. And then yeah, I snack all day long.
Mhm.
I try to use protein, but then a good old sugary snack is always enticing.
Mhm.
Megan Smiley is always full of snacks, so I hit her snacks up more than I would like to admit. Um, Usually in the afternoon, I have to keep like drinking electrolytes throughout a match,
Mhm.
just throughout the day anyway, in general. So I use like Nun tablets, and then I use a Nun. They make a Nun tablet plus caffeine, and it's not like a huge amount of caffeine. I can't even remember. It's might be like 35 milligrams, so not much, but just enough that like I usually do something like that right after lunch to give me a little bit of pep, keep my brain kind of in gear. So yeah, I definitely snack. I don't eat anything too heavy though, and then just kind of keep it light throughout the day. But yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely keep eating all day long.
Mhm. I mean, isn't that everyone's choice? Just keep snacking all day long.
That's
So
right.
so what
That's
you're
right.
saying is Megan Smiley's range bag is more full of snacks than it is gun accessories, right?
That is right. If you're hungry, go find Megan Smiley.
And she's from Texas, isn't she?
She is
Okay.
Midland, Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we're both from middle of nowhere. She's middle of nowhere, Texas. I'm middle of nowhere, Mississippi.
There you go. But you mentioned protein shakes, and I've noticed you've started the Alpha Nutrition.
I
So,
have just here recently. I've just started trying their stuff in the last week or so, and I really like it so far.
mhm. Have you tried the Major Power Factor Lemon yet?
I have. I think I am more of a minor power factor girl.
Hmm.
But because I just don't like that like extreme energy.
Hmm.
Now if I was gonna go work out or something, it might be good. But I kind of like the little bit of a lower tone of the minor power factor.
Hmm. And I just don't know how I feel about like the lemoniness. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean that it tastes good to me. I don't
yeah,
mind the lemoniness.
it's not too lemony. All right, that I
No,
get.
it's more like a lemon cello.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah, it's not like it's not like tart lemon. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of a sweet lemon.
Oh, okay. That's not bad then.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
it's
good.
not. I mean, there's probably some studies too that people like lemon in their pre-workout or whatnot. So, I mean, there's probably some studies they did when they released it. So, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. Nutrition, training. Like you said earlier, you talk about you've only got a limited amount of time to go to the range. When you pick, because you already said you already know what you're going to do when you get there. Is it usually based on what you did in dry fire or something you saw at a match?
Okay, so I started kind of over this last year when I've started trying to focus more on like my process of the game.
Hmm.
And so I use a journal, and I journal like throughout a match and throughout a practice. I record like my good, my bad. If there's any kind of like key of, oh, I had to do this and that really felt odd, or I did not like how that felt, or I did not get the gun up in time right there. I would just write all that down. It helps me kind of progress from the next to like shut that stage down, move on to the next one. Like if I was in a match, or And then that's what I use to drive my next practices. So yeah, it's all kind of derived from a journal of what I feel like I need to work on, what's going well, what's not going well, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And it's do you feel with the journal that it keeps you more accountable?
It does, and it helps keep me more focused. Like
Mhm.
I feel like I can just kind of flounder sometimes and just work on like, oh, I want to work on this today, or oh, I just want to work on this. Where the journal helps really keep me like actually focused on like what I'm trying to accomplish.
Mhm. That probably is something very important that a lot of shooters probably don't do that they probably should do is keep that journal of what they need to work on and the goods and the bads, right?
And it helps keep my mind clear. I feel like I'm not like sometimes, and maybe it's because I have so many irons in the fire. I feel like my mind is just swimming with like all the things I've got to remember. Where the journal helps me, like I just write it down and then I move on. And then next time I'm like practicing, I pull it back out and I look at it and I address it then. So like at a match, if I have a bad stage, I write down what I need to work on, what I did, what went bad, what went good, and then I close it and I move on to the next stage. And I don't worry about that stage anymore until after the match. Then I pull my journal out, and that's when I worry about that stage.
Gotcha. Now, are you one of I don't know, you talked about mental management a little bit, it seems like.
Yeah.
Do you prescribe to the Laney Basham talk like with winning in mind kind of stuff, or do you have your own mentality?
Yeah, I have read his book and I listened to the like Steve Anderson podcast and
Mhm.
the Laney Basham podcast. Yeah. So I really like his stuff. I've never taken one of his actual like courses or anything. This past year I worked a little bit with Laura Wilkerson. She's actually a gold medal diver. She's a mom that has 4 kids, so I can really relate to her. And so she's kind of helped me work on that mental management a little bit. And that's one thing I'm just really excited to dive into this next season with, just a little bit different focus and different game plan with all that.
Mhm. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. And it's nice that you can relate to her, um, being a mom and, the mental game. And it's really nice. And
Yeah.
I will say divers impressed the hell out of me because I don't think I could contort or spin or do any of that. um,
Yeah, I think I would be too chicken. Like watching how they, especially when they're going off like I think they call it the platform, and they like jump and then actually like dive into the platform. And I mean, it's probably more, but it from video, it looks like they are like super close to that platform. And I
mhm.
would just be scared I would slam it. Oh,
Yeah,
but they're pretty brave.
I remember in my time in high school where we I was on the swim team, so we'd see the
Me
divers from every.
too.
So I'm a breaststroker. I always get see, but I always
I
got
was
stuck doing the
too.
IM, and I'm like, I hate my life, and it's butterfly was the worst.
I couldn't swim a legal butterfly, so I never had to do that. I am.
Oh, you're so lucky. I had to deal with that all the time, and it was like you're legal, you're good enough to be in it, but just don't come in last. That's all we
That's
ask.
funny.
But by the time, like, what was it? Nice backstroke was nice because you could always catch your breath, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, now I can do my thing, right? And
Yeah.
then by the time freestyle came, you're just like, I'm done with this. Can this be over?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you keep doing the IM. I'll stick to my breaststroke.
I mean, I loved the breaststroke. It was fun. Um, it was always interesting though when uh I never could. It seemed like I either always went too deep on like a turn, so I had to. It took me too long to get back up, so I lost time there, and or it was like you're too short, and it's like then you're working too hard, and it's like, oh, it was
Yeah.
never. It was always a learning experience, but I enjoyed swimming. I wish
I did too.
um my local gym has a pool, but I don't want to get. I'd like to get back in the pool, but it just sinks a lot of time.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's like another thing to have to do, and
Well, so you're already waking up 3 mornings a week early to go to the gym. Those other 2 mornings you go swim.
I mean that could be a thing that might work. That might work. But
Hey, I'm just living through you because I really wish I could swim, but we don't have a pool around us. So, but one day,
one day, yeah, exactly. You can just build one, put it in the backyard, just heat it all year,
there you
right?
go. There you go. You can talk to my husband about that one.
Yeah, we'll just divert funds from Precision Delta Ammo into the pool fund.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
but I will say the nice thing about swimming was that it built like that constant want to be better kind of mentality, which kind of
Yeah.
progressed into the shooting too, for me at
Hmm.
least. But
Yeah, and it's like that individual sport. Even though I swam for like my high school and for like a club team, which you
mhm,
do still have a little bit of that team atmosphere. It individual sports are just different, you know. And
mhm.
so yeah, it kind of correlated the same too.
Yeah. Now, and it's nice because you have that soloness, but the camaraderie of the team. Um,
Yeah.
I was not fortunate enough to swim in like growing up in like a club swimming setting. I just joined in high school, which is interesting
Oh,
enough. Yeah, you go with one friend. They go to they have their they were join the club, and then after that, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. When can I do this? And then we joined in high school, but it was fun. I did get some listener questions for you. So one person did want to
oh,
know.
people wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah, they did. One person wanted to know what was your most memorable win.
Ooh, I don't know. My most memorable win. Uh, Probably okay. So this was it wasn't a win in like an actual win. Does that count?
I mean, yeah, it's
Could it
your
be a win in
answer.
my book? Okay.
Yeah.
So France, we won, of course, as the women's lady open team. We won the gold, but then I came in fourth, and that was just like the fourth individually. And
Mhm.
I came into that match with like zero expectations for my performance and or for placement.
Mhm.
I just wanted to go shoot my best and like shoot my best for my team and that kind of thing. And so walking away being fourth and then us getting the team gold, it was a really big win in my book for me. Individually, it kind of made me realize at that point that like I could do this and that like I deserve to be there kind of thing. So yeah, I would say that.
Mhm. Now, between France and Thailand, did you have the same ladies team?
We did not. It was totally, well, I shouldn't say totally different. It was me and Jesse Harrison.
Hmm.
Um, and then so in France, it was me, Jesse Harrison, Casey Cochran, and Lisa Munson. And then here in France, I mean in Thailand, it was me, Jesse Harrison, Megan Smiley, and Janet Sui.
Okay. Now, did the other two ladies stop shooting, or they just not qualify?
Casey Cochran, I don't believe shoots anymore. And then Lisa Munson, that was like, man, how many? Want to get on your Google thing here? I'm just kidding. I want to say that was like her sixth or her eighth world shoot. Like she is a beast, and like I want to be like her when I grow up. But yeah, she just didn't try again to qualify.
Yeah. Oof, a 30-year member. She joined in 88.
Yeah, I mean, listen to her story, like as the sport has progressed and like how she used to shoot like 45 single stack. Like, I mean, and she is a little bitty lady too. Like
Mhm.
she makes me look like a giant. Like she is a petite little thing. And like she's really cool. She's a beast.
That is awesome. I'm gonna have to look her up now because I've never heard of her name. I've joined the sport end of 2019, and I've never heard of
Yeah.
her. But
Yeah, I have not seen her at a match since France, so I'm not sure if she's still actively shooting or not, but she's a really awesome lady.
2018, 2019. Oh, I gotta scroll for a while. Yeah, maybe 2018, 2019 was the end. Oh wait, nope, she shot in 21. Okay,
Oh,
so she lives out in Arizona then, so that makes sense.
yeah.
I'm gonna stop scrolling though. But the next question is, what advice do you have for women wanting to get to your level?
Uh, Focus on your game. Focus on your process. So I think it's really easy as a lady to be intimidated by the guys around you or to come in and like be like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. But just you got to start somewhere and then just focus on your game. Don't be intimidated by the people going fast around you or the guys that are trying to win. You know, that can be pretty intimidating. But just focusing on your process and your game, and you'll slowly get to where you want to be.
That's great advice. I don't know, but when as you were coming up in the sport, did you get a lot of unsolicited advice?
Yes, and still do.
Oh,
I think
that
it's just being a woman, like it's just like draws it like a magnet for some reason. I don't know.
yeah. Now, are you nice about it and you tell them no, thank you,
Yeah.
or okay? I
I
mean,
just listen to them and I just listen and say thank you.
oh
And
yeah,
then
and
you
then
know.
go on with your day,
Because
right? It's like,
I mean, generally they do mean well. It's not like they're trying to, treat me, teach me something bad. It's, they mean well. And so I just take it as you mean well and move on.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. Now, who have been some of your biggest mentors or supporters in this sport? Not necessarily sponsors, but mentors and supporters.
I would say like Johnny Brister, like I talked about first, he still is one of my biggest supporters. Before I go to a big match, I'm gonna get a text or a call from Johnny. Um, he always tells me to go fast. But he will always be one of my biggest ones. And then of course like my family, and my husband.
Yeah, and without the family being it's kind of hard to do what you do, right? You can't go to matches without the family.
Right.
It definitely makes it harder to be able to get away without that support structure, right?
Yeah, and I think this past year has really showed me that it- when you have to be away and when you have to rely on others, it really shows you who does support you in that. And this fall was really busy. Getting ready for Thailand, trying to go to all the matches, trying to train, and then just being gone. Like we were gone for 10 days for Pan American, and then being gone for over 2 weeks, for World Shoot. I had to rely on those around me. And so that's when I really found out how much my family really supported me, how much my town supported me, my child's teacher, just you really realize how many people want the best for you when you are in those moments.
Hmm. Now, how many matches other than the World Shoot and the Pan American did you end up getting to shoot?
Oh, well, I don't know. I've never counted.
Right, you just have to count how many cases of bullets, right?
That's right. I mean, I generally honestly don't shoot probably as many as like I was listening to Charlie Perez's thing the other yesterday and finished it today. I mean, that man shoots a lot of matches.
Hmm.
Um, I used to shoot a lot of matches, but honestly, I mean, just now with my life with my little girl and stuff, I don't get to shoot as many as I would like. I try to aim for one major a month if I can. And then the fall sometimes gets a little busier than that, just with trying to get in everything I need to and be prepared for nationals or whatnot. I don't during the season. I don't get as many locals in. We're 2 hours from a local match here, um, and so we sometimes I kind of have to weigh my pros and cons of if I would get more out of a practice or out of a local. So I don't get to shoot as many of those as I would like. So.
Hmm. Now, this year, do you have which matches are you looking at so far to add to your calendar?
So it is not set in stone. So if anybody has any great recommendations, they're on my way. But Dragons, I'm registered for Dragons Cup here in the next month or so. Area 4 for sure. Um, Area 1, I really wanted to go to that, but I got waitlisted. So if anybody has any special insight on that, either Area 7 or Area 8. I'm not sure. Like I said, I kind of try to keep it as like one major a month. So I kind of look as like time wise, like when these matches are being held. Open nationals for sure, IPSC nationals for sure. Um, Possibly Area 6, and then who knows what else. We'll see.
Yeah, that's plenty of matches on the board. But that's still a pretty daunting list for the lifestyle that you have now, and the balance of life and home structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else do I have? I've got a couple more questions, and then I think we'll wrap this up. But it's been a quite interesting and wonderful conversation. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a great one. I love asking most of my guests this. What are some things that either people can start doing or stop doing to get better?
Stop overthinking and stop thinking about the outcome.
Hmm.
This is all speaking from what I've learned in the last year. Stop
Hmm.
thinking about the outcome, stop thinking about results, and start thinking about the process.
Hmm. And those honestly are great things to think about, and because it usually gets in the people's way. Honestly,
It it
it
definitely does for me.
yeah, or it's all. And I think we all can get down that rabbit hole because we're all a little type A inside, right? We do this, we want to be perfectionists, and the overthinking probably just kills either the productivity or the mental state to want to perform well, because people can be super negative on themselves. And I think we're our own worst critics in life, to be honest with us.
Oh, absolutely. And that really came to head at nationals this year, honestly. That was a really hard match for me, just mentally. And I think that's when I really realized I knew that I needed to work on my mental game. And that's when I really it really hit home that like it is actually like hurting my performance. And it's keeping me from reaching my goals.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is what has led to kind of a turn of focus for this next year.
Mhm. And honestly, it's a great focus, and I think a lot of people need to actually do that instead of um uh then talk about it. They need to actually do it, which is quite a nice thing. But now that we're kind of wrapping it up, we've talked about a couple of them, but who are your sponsors? Because this is the part where we are able to give back to them at this point.
Double Alpha Academy has supported me for a long time, and they've been so gracious to me. All of their gear, my Lynx belt, just got a new Flex holster that I'm excited to work with. They've just been really great to me, keeping me in the best gear that that I could have and need. Then of course Phoenix Trinity, they keep me supplied well with guns, and I couldn't do it without them. But really, the golden sponsor is Precision Delta that
Mhm.
keeps me out on the range, and their bullets and their ammunition. I couldn't do it without them for sure.
Side question: do you load your own ammunition, or do you make your husband do it?
I load my own ammunition.
Well, there you go. That's see, people just go load your own ammunition. It'll be fine. But
Yep.
but also, Sloan, where if people want to talk to you about this or things we've talked about today, where is the best place for them to contact you at?
So my Instagram page and then my Facebook page as well. Sloan Sanders, and there you go.
There you go. So people, if you want to talk to her, go ahead and hit her up. She'll be more than willing to talk to you, I'm assuming, because
Yes.
she's not, she's talked to me for this long. So I mean, she might as well she'll talk to you too. But Sloan, thank you for coming on. I've really had a good time, and hopefully we'll have to do this again at some point.
Yeah, so it's good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And listeners, until next time, get out and do things. I will see you on the next one.